Hello everyone and welcome to Within Her Eyes Key Facts video. So hopefully you have your booklet at the ready and you are ready to fill in pages 2 and 3 of your booklet. So key facts are just the simple information that we call the fact file. So the choreographer of this work is James Cousins. His company is a nice easy name to remember. It's just James Cousins Company. The date of the first performance was February 2016, and my little trick to remember that is that obviously this dance is about a love story, so I think of then Valentine's Day being in February, just to kind of jog my memory. The main dance style is contemporary dance, but I've just added there, obviously we all know that contact is a dance relationship, but just so important to remember that the whole dance, but the bar the prologue, is all in contact, but it is in the contemporary style. We know there are two dances. One of them is male and one of them is female. The duration of the work is 17 minutes, and the performance environment is site sensitive. Site sensitive, remember, meaning anywhere that's not a traditional dance stage. So in this case, they are performing in various different locations in Wales, such as we see them on the hilltop, the cliff top. Right at the beginning, she's in the deserted streets, and right at the end, they're in the quarry. So the performance environment itself is site sensitive. And the filmmaker is a company called Scratch. If you need a second to write that down, just please pause it now. Okay, just moving on just briefly to the structure of the work. So it is a prologue followed by 6 continuous sections defined by the change in location, physicality and music that reflects the developing relationship. The overall effect is one seamless journey. It's quite difficult to see the structure of the work, but like it says there, it's more defined by just the changing of locations. So when you see a change in the setting, that is normally going to be a change in the section of the work. So first we start with the prologue, which is a section that we study in detail. Then it's the beginning. Again, that's the second section that we study in detail. Third is moving closer. We don't look at this in detail. Flow 1 is the third section that we study in detail. We do not study kneeling in detail. We do study flow 2, and then we don't look at the floor. But obviously please watch the whole work and get an overall idea and feeling, but I've put the timings up there so that you can really zoom in and go into depth in the 4 sections that we do look at. So just to repeat, we specifically study the prologue, the beginning, flow 1 and flow 2. Okay, let's move on. So there are words that are paired together as the stimulus, which is love and loss, longing and memory, and dependency and loyalty. So these are the key words that you need to, I've paired them together, just learn them as where that kind of starting point for the dance came. It was inspired by James Cousins' personal experiences as well as well-known narratives, so well-known love stories essentially. I just want you to write this down, and this is taken directly from the fact file, but just says that rather than a conventional love story where despite the bumpy road the characters ultimately end up together, James Cousins wanted to flip it around to portray a story where no matter what happened they could never be together. Okay, so not a traditional love story where they fall in love at the end. That doesn't happen here. No matter what happens, ultimately they could never be together. So that's why we get that love story with a twist idea. Okay, if you need to, just pause this now to fill in your booklet. Okay, choreographic intention. Remembering this is what the choreographer aims to communicate. So number one, so this is the main intention, is to portray an abstract love story. And he wanted to translate the emotional intensity and energy of the original stage show. So some important information is that Within Her Eyes, before it was Within Her Eyes, it was called There We Have Been, and it was on stage. So not in a site sensitive location, actually on a stage live. But this dance film was taken, the movements, and James wanted to specifically take the emotional intensity and energy of that stage production and translate that over onto film. And then I've put all of these up together because they're the movement intentions, that's how I kind of remember it. So the female leading and the male responding, the female never touching the floor, and opening and closing movements. Again, if you need some time, just pause the video now. Lastly, we have the choreographic approach, which we know is how the different approaches and how James Cousins came to actually put the movement together, how he actually choreographed. So, like I just explained about There We Have Been, he has taken some of the movements from the original stage production. He has also set himself the task to keep that female dancer off the floor. So that was also a task and approach that he used. He collaborated with both of the dancers and he used improvisation to create the movement. Okay, again, just pause in the video now if you need a second to write that down. Okay guys, that's the end of the key facts Within Her Eyes video. I encourage you now to go and watch Within Her Eyes to let all of that information soak in. If you haven't already, please watch the choreographer's interview with James Cousins speaking about the whole work. And just start developing your own interpretations, start looking at production features. Remember, all the videos are available on the Frog site.